What's up, book buds? Let's get cozy, get comfy. It's time to chill. I'm Cassie.
And I'm Emily, and this is Book Bits and Chill, the podcast where we break down every chapter, thirst over fictional men, and never take ourselves too seriously.
That's right. And today we're so excited because we're continuing our mini segment, Fiction's Fresh Faces. And we have our newest indie author and friend, Lindsey Richardson, with us today. As I think some of you know, if you've been listening and following along, this series is really to highlight new authors putting out their debut novels so that you can put it on your TBR and follow these authors as well, because we know that you're going to be obsessed with not just them, but also their books. So we'll kick it off with Lindsey with some icebreaker vibe checks, and then we'll talk more about Godsbane, the world that she built, the characters that we're already obsessed with, all the fun stuff. But before we get into that, we'll kick it over to you, Lindsey, to introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for having me today. I'm so excited to be here. And on behalf of all debut authors, can I say thank you for hosting this incredible segment and giving us a spot to come and chat
Woohoo!
and to make amazing
Yeah.
new friends in the process. This is great.
Absolutely. It's been a blast. I mean, it's just the amount of grit and just determination and excitement and all of that
Mhm.
that I feel like indie authors just bring to the book world and the publishing. It's like a breath of fresh air. So it's just been so fun to get to do this.
You all work so hard, and that is my favorite part of this segment is to see how much work you all put into this and demand people go read your book. Oh, Lindsay, tell us a little
That's
bit
right.
about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a mom of two and also a fur mom of two. I have two dogs as well. So it's a full
Ooh.
house around here. I am also, balancing a 9 to 5 job and all that kind of fun stuff that comes with that. So we're very, very busy. But
That's
yeah,
crazy. That's like a 3 full-time job, being an author, a mom, and having your own full-time gig.
it
Yeah.
is. It is. It is a lot. Yeah. I have I'm very lucky. I have a really great career in digital marketing strategy, especially in the nonprofit industry. I've been in there for about 15 years. So
Wow.
like this, I love when the opportunity to publish came up, I was like, oh, I want to do this myself because I just love being hands-on,
Yeah.
having the control that comes with it, and really just getting to do the fun part of what I do all day for a living, but I get to do it for myself and for
Yeah.
my book and for my world. So it just made sense.
Yeah.
I love that. So before we get into a vibe check to get your vibe as an author, a reader, a bookstagrammer, tell us, when did you decide to become an author?
So I have been working on Godsbane for about 2 years now. I think we're almost right at
Wow.
exactly the 2 year mark. I knew I always wanted to write. It's always been an outlet for me. And so when I sat down and said, okay, I want to write a book, it was always meant to be like a form of therapy for me. I was really
Sure.
burnt out working in corporate and juggling kids. And at that time I, still had one kid that was in diapers. And so I
Mm,
just felt like I had lost so much of myself in work and motherhood, and I was like, I need something that's
Yeah.
just for me, that's this little selfish moment where I can, spend in this world that I've kind of created. And so it always, was just meant for me, but then it grew into something that I really want to share with the rest of the world.
oh, I
That's
love that.
incredible. I think we all need a little bit of a reminder to just
Mhm.
always have that focus on ourselves and
Yeah.
do some of that reclaiming wherever we
Mhm.
can. So that is so cool that you were able to kind of turn that outlet into a work of art. That's awesome. I don't know that I'm ever doing that. I'm turning my reclaiming into couch time. That's about
Yeah,
it.
that's amazing. So let's learn a little bit more about you, Lindsay,
Yeah.
about you as a reader and writer. So we want to
Mhm.
know, which book made you want to start writing, not just as a dream, but like, I need to be a writer. I need to do this in my life.
Ooh, I don't think it was one particular book. I think it was as soon as I started getting back into reading. I've always been a fantasy girl. Let me preface that. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
always loved everything fantasy. So I picked up a couple of books right out of the gate and instantly got sucked in to the world of not only fantasy but into romantasy in general. And I read several things back to back. And I remember putting a book down one night and looking at my husband and I said, I could do this. And he said,
Yeah.
then why don't you? And so here we are,
Wow,
2 years later.
love that
Love that
support.
Yeah.
response.
Yeah.
Love that response. Yeah, I feel like with fantasy books too, like that true just immersion into those
Mhm,
worlds is something that can't be beat. Like I love other genres, but
mhm,
just being able to lose yourself in that regard and like the pictures that these authors paint, including yourself, is just again, it's like that high that just like cannot be matched by other
mhm,
genres, I feel like. And in that regard, the fantasy world, romantasy world
mhm.
is completely riddled with tropes and micro tropes and micro tropes.
Yeah.
So is there one trope that you will always say yes to
Oh,
and maybe also wrote in your book?
yes, absolutely. It's one bed. One bed is always the winner for
Yes.
me, and every
I knew that
always.
was going to be your
Oh
answer.
dear.
It's so clear if you read your book that that was going to be your answer.
Yeah.
Yes,
I knew when
yes.
I sat down, like I had the story, I had all this stuff, and so when I was really like outlining, I was like, I want to figure out how to put a one bed in here. Like I really, really want to figure it out and make it work. So that's going to be my goal. I think with every book is like, can I sneak this in?
Yes.
I
Can
love
this be in
that.
here somewhere?
Give the people what
That's
they want, and we all want the
Exactly.
one bed.
We
No matter what people say, we want the one bed.
always,
And when
always.
people read your one bed, they're going to be very excited, which takes me to that you have a very broody, hot, sexy MMC in your book. And so we want to know,
Mhm.
who are your book boyfriends, maybe from other series, that made you want to write yours?
Yeah, so I think the biggest inspiration for my MMC is definitely Slade Ravenger from the Plated Prisoner series. Like Slade is like
Ooh.
he's not even a book boyfriend; he's like book husband. Like
Yeah.
he's the top of the top for me. I think Raven Kennedy did just an incredible job with him, and so I was like, this is the one. And then I'm a Dorian girl. Like
Oh,
he's my Throne of
yes.
Glass
Our
love
shadow
forever.
hands daddy.
Oh, he does just like I mean, bleed whatever color I tell you to. Like,
Yep.
oh, it doesn't get better than that.
Mm.
Love him. And I also really love Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbarn family.
Oh,
Ooh.
you like a dark
You have
guy.
a
You like,
type.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
a type.
You have a
I have a type.
type.
I have a type. Yeah. And
I
if
love
it's
that.
not one, and if it's not an MMC, then I usually am going for like one of the strong side characters. So
Yeah.
like I'm a huge Riddick Gamlin girl. Like I love
Oh,
the
Oh.
snarky, like hysterical, kind of funny comic relief. So yeah.
yes.
Wait,
He is perfect.
my jaw was just on the floor because when you said the thing about the plated prisoner, we literally wrote down, this book has the romance of the plated prisoner. That is on our notes, Lindsay. So you
I'm
did
so glad
it
that
right.
came through.
Yes. So you literally did it right, which I think is a testament to
Yeah.
your writing, and everybody should
Yes.
be rushing to read this right now.
Agreed. And speaking of you as a reader, is
Mhm.
there a way that did you have any math to how you rate the books that you read? Like, is it more of a gut
Ooh.
feeling? Do you have the star math that you play with? Like, how do you do it?
Oh, it's definitely vibes. I think if a
Love
five-star
that.
read for me is the book that I can't put down, and when I have to put it down, I'm constantly thinking about it and figuring out like how can I hurry up and do whatever I need to do so I
Yes.
can get back into
Yes.
that world. Like it
Yes.
lingers with you. That's a 5. I think 4 is like I just really, really, really enjoyed it. And I want to tell everybody about it, but maybe it
Yeah.
didn't live rent free. It just there was just something a little bit that kept it from that.
Yeah.
And then what's really interesting is I don't rate books less than 2 stars. If I finish
Mm,
them, I'll give them 2 stars.
right.
But I've
That's a
also
good
gotten very
point.
comfortable, like, starting to DNF. So I'm like, if I
Yeah.
finished it, I'm like, that you held my attention enough and like gave me the want to get through it. So it's at
Yeah.
least at a minimum 2 stars.
That's a really good point,
Yeah.
actually.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that.
Lindsay, a little bit about you. We've talked about the
Mhm.
reader, but what are you
Mhm.
doing when you're not reading, when you're not writing? Like, what are your
Mm.
other hobbies?
Ooh, well, being a mom is probably the biggest. I don't even know if that's a
Hobby.
that's a full-time job
We'll
in
count it.
itself. But I love to create, and so that's also like a form of therapy for me. So like creating this book, but also crafting. I've been really into
Mm,
like making friendship bracelets right now.
Cute.
I love music. I love college football, but it's
there we go. I like it. Okay, Lindsay, if you can finish this sentence for us, we'd very much
okay.
appreciate it. If you loved insert popular book talk romantasy book here, you will love Godsbane because
Ooh, well, I mean, I came prepared for this question with plated prisoner and romance, but since we've already said that, I will say if you loved Crowns of Nyaxia or anything by Chris
ooh,
Abradment, I think you will like Godsbane because it has very descriptive prose, like a very similar kind of
yes.
style.
That's a good segue though into Lindsay telling us a bit about the book. And yeah, we'll hand the floor over to you to tell us all about Godsbane.
Yeah, please
Oh my
tell us
gosh.
everything we already know.
Well, I think okay, I've been practicing. We'll see if I can pull it off. So everything that you know about your gods is a lie. Godsbane is the story of Ivy Fellows, and she is the first and only female heir to a ruling family in her nation. And she has used her position of power to speak out for years against this forced worship of these gods that she really believes have abandoned her and cursed her. So, very unexpectedly and suddenly, the king dies and kind of his like puppet master who's been behind the scenes pulling a string is the one who's going to take the throne. And Ivy's willing to do just about anything to stop him. So before well, her father is really sick, so he sends her to go and vote on who is going to ascend the throne next. And she really desperately wants to keep this guy off the throne. And before she can leave, her father makes one more request and says, "You have to travel with the right hand of this guy's army, a man
Mm.
who has a reputation that is even worse than hers somehow." And so she is 100% convinced that she has got to make this man her ally. And the more she learns about him, the more she discovers that absolutely everything she believes to be true is a lie. And
Oh,
there is prophecy and betrayal and forbidden magic, this hidden secret elemental magic,
yes.
exiled gods, a chosen one. And it's just really a story of love and destiny. And Ivy's faced with a big choice. She can either give in to her fate, or she can do the impossible, which is battle a god and change the fate of her entire world.
Yes. Oh,
Woo!
I have goosebumps. We
I
read
love
it and I have
it.
goosebumps.
I know. I know. I was like, wait, why do I want to read this book? And I'm like, oh, I already did.
Oh my gosh, so good. Oh, we didn't even mention at the beginning, but we had this very incredible special honor of being beta readers of Godsbane. So we
Yeah.
got a really, really exciting and awesome sneak peek into the world that Lindsay built into her characters and all of that good stuff that we're about to get into. But thank you for that opportunity, by the way. I feel like
Yeah.
we
Oh,
haven't
thank
gotten to mention that.
Yeah, thank y'all for doing it. I think the beta reader experience was so interesting. I've never done any of this before. So I just kind of blindly put out something and said, "Hey, would anybody like even be interested in this?" And y'all raised your hand like right
Jumped.
away. And I
Jumped.
loved it. And you even were so kind to go back and even read some of my post beta edits the second time to tell me if
Oh
stuff
yeah.
worked better. And
Oh yeah.
I could not thank y'all enough for all the
That
help and feedback.
whole experience was literally my idea of fun.
Yeah.
I could not describe how much I enjoyed myself. So thank you. You really gave us a gift with that.
I just
But
really
I
like
do
to feel VIP with anything. So I just really like that I got to read it for before everybody.
That's right. That's right. Peek under the hood. Well, that's a good segue into our ride or die portion. So, I would love to start out with just understanding, like you had mentioned that you started
Mhm,
writing this as kind of a way to start to reclaim
mhm,
yourself, some of your independence as a person outside of being a mom and a corporate America person and all of
mhm.
that good stuff. But when did you know that this was the story that you had to write?
Oh, that's a good question. So my dog actually ran away. And she's
Oh my
very
gosh.
spoiled, but okay, no, she's fine. She's like the kind of dog who like lives a life of luxury. The door cracks open this much, and she's like, "I gotta go.
She's like, I'm
Like I'm
out.
out of here.
I'm packing
I
my
gotta go."
bags.
So she just runs around the neighborhood for a while. I was home by myself. She got out. I had to go get her and bring her back. And I'm like coming down off this anxiety of like, oh my gosh, I've just been running around yelling out her name. And I had this idea of like, ooh, I wonder what it would feel like if you were like dreaming that you were running around constantly, shouting out this name. You knew that something bad was about to happen, something ominous was chasing you, whether that be death or something like that, but then you
Sure.
wake up and you don't understand what the dream was, and you don't know who the person was that you were hollering for. Like you just know this sense of dread in your gut that you're gonna die.
Wow.
And so that's it. That's how the story started.
That is
Um,
crazy.
Oh my gosh. I like
all
my
because my
jaw
dog
is
decided to go run
unhinged.
around the neighborhood.
That's incredible. Like the amount of inspiration that you were able to pull out of a moment of desperate anxiety. I'm like thinking about my brain when I'm in that anxious state. It's just like shut down.
Yeah,
Well, shout out
immediate
to my
shutdown.
therapist for those coping skills.
Okay,
That is
so
incredible.
we get the immediate idea from the runaway dog.
Yeah.
Can we give them a shout out? What's their name? What
Yes, her name is Bowen.
you were
Oh.
screaming Bowen around the
I was
neighborhood.
screaming Bowen.
You
Yeah.
were like, can you imagine? So then what came after that? Was it Ivy? Was it the story about the gods? Was it the politics? What was next?
Yeah. So Ivy came next, and she came to me
Mm,
pretty much almost fully formed. In the early drafts, Ivy was really angry, and I had to work through that. I was like, because I wanted there to be this like feminine rage that like just
yeah.
simmers under the surface, but it was like it was not under the surface. It was like whoa in your face. And so I went through a couple of drafts where I, had to kind of figure out, I had to be her therapist a little bit and like help
Right.
her grow and get to a point where I was like, okay, this is now we now have an arc. We've come somewhere with this. But she definitely came next, and I played a lot back and forth about what do I want to do? Where do I want this to go? What do I want the end to be? And I had to have about, it was almost a year ago exactly today. I called two of my best friends. We have a group text. We call ourselves the Shadow Baddies. And
Ah, I love that.
I called my Shadow Baddies, and they came over with wine and appetizers. We had girl dinner, and we said, I
Brilliant.
just like threw ideas at the wall. And I was like, here's this magic system I've come up with. Here's the politics, here's the main character, here's this idea, where are we going? And they helped me really plot out the end of it and figure it out. And it is so different looking at the story now completed than where it was
Right.
when I first started in the first draft. You wouldn't even know they were the same book, honestly.
Wow, that's an
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing brainstorm group, though. I love
Yeah.
that.
I love the
Very
shadow
proud of them.
baddies. That's awesome. I'm about to rebrand Emily and I to the
There
also
you
to
go.
the shadow baddies.
Shadow Daddies, too.
I'm forcing ourselves into your group.
Oh, we're
I
welcome. Oh.
did feel that though with Ivy, especially when we
Mhm,
were reading the earlier draft. Like
mhm,
you feel that kind of like deep rage of being
mhm.
misunderstood, of, being in this position of power and not being accepted, but you still want to do the right thing. And
Mhm.
it was so cool to be able to see her evolution. And I thought you wrote her arc so masterfully because I do feel like the Ivy at the end versus the Ivy
Mhm.
at the beginning was very different, markedly
Mhm.
different in that regard, where it's like maybe she didn't have all of her stuff settled, but she was
Yeah.
able to work through a lot of it. And it was very, very cool to be able to see that evolution. So that brainstorm really
Thank
worked
you.
out.
It
Really
did.
worked well. Speaking of one of your other main characters,
Yes,
Callan
yes.
Murphy, Mr. Hottie Hot Hot. Let's talk about him. Did you know that he would always be that swoony? Like when you were thinking of Slade Ravenger, were you like, oh, I want to take these pieces from this guy, these pieces from this guy? Did he surprise you at all? Like, how did you develop this man that you did?
Yeah, he definitely surprised me. So I knew that I wanted them to be a partnership. Like one of the
Yeah.
things that I didn't want anybody to be like, my sole goal is to fix the other person because I don't believe that people really like need fixing. Sometimes we just need help and we
Mm,
need somebody to bring out those pieces of us that are there that maybe we're letting other emotions or feelings kind of hide. And so
sure.
I wanted him to be this like silent support where he's like trying to lift her up and like wants her to get better, but wants her to get there on her own. And just as that rock that just says, hey, all those horrible thoughts you're having about yourself, all those things that you think you are because that's what society tells you to be, you're not that. And I'm gonna
Mm,
help you realize that. So I really wanted him to be that. And he was also angrier in the first
yeah.
draft. He was a little too broody. And I was like, I just wanted to be a little bit. And then I wrote a draft where he was too much of a simp. And I was like, okay, we got to find a
The middle
balance
ground.
somewhere in here. Yeah. But I knew I didn't want them to be enemies. And I think like their
Yeah.
titles make it and their positions in society make it seem like they would be enemies. But they're not. He's like so obsessed with her and in love
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
her. And I was like, yes, that's the kind of female centered story I want, where he's like, it's all about
Hmm.
you. I'm just here. Like he's just Ken, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
think he's something else, but
Yes.
really, really, she's the star of the show.
I
Okay,
love
so
that.
speaking of how obsessed he is with her, those spicy scenes, you have to give us some insight in how you went about writing those.
Were you
So
blushing? Like
yes.
how I'm always just so interested in like the setting that people have to set for themselves to like really get
So
into it.
I have to travel for work pretty often, and so on those work trips, that's when I find the most time to be able to write because I'm by
Mm.
myself after work hours. I wrote several of those in a hotel bar, and I know
Ooh.
I was so red because I was like taking screenshots of it and like sending it to my girlfriends in a text message. I'm like, is this too much? And they're like, are you in public? What are you doing? So I make myself blush and like like kind of
Yeah.
giggle and stuff when I read it back, and I'm like, I wrote that.
That's awesome. How did you come up with like some of the descriptors? Because you know how there's folds,
Yeah.
there's steel links, there's all the things. Like, how did you decide on what words to use?
I think I just read enough that I was like, I had a list of words I didn't
Yeah.
want to use. And so I
Yeah.
was like, how
Yeah.
do I not use those? And also, um, you know, I I know that my parents and my elementary school teachers are going to read this. So I
Yeah.
also didn't want to be I kind of wanted to like find somewhere in the middle where I wasn't using too many of those like kind of cringy euphemisms, but wasn't being, just maybe as explicit as I could be, and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
me somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Did your husband read
He did. He
them?
did.
Was he like,
He
oh,
said
Lindsay?
he was like, "This is pretty good."
Good work.
Yeah, he was
Keep
like,
at
"Yeah,
it.
that'll do. That'll do."
That
I
is
one of the
awesome.
earlier drafts, he did look at me and say, people are gonna read this, right?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And he was like, "All right, cool. If you're cool with it, let's go."
Cool.
That's amazing.
Oh, speaking of naming,
Mhm.
how did you come up with the names for or within your world building? I loved that you named the regions after jewels because
Yeah.
it was just very easy to anchor my brain in. Like, I feel like sometimes when you're reading fantasy and romantasy, you're
Mhm.
like, how do I say this? Where am I? I don't understand what's going on here. But I felt like the jewels just made it like very clean cut for me to understand what was going on.
Yeah. So, I knew that Ivy has earth magic, and so I was really trying to play on that theme of like green and brown and earth tones. And so I kind of got to thinking about green, and I kept finding myself in early drafts referring to things as being emerald. And so I was like, why don't we just name the region that? And so then once I
Yeah.
got that, I was like, well, why don't we make them all jewels? And it kind of just just built from there. And I played around a while to like figure out which jewels I wanted to include. Topaz was the one that I kept going back and forth on, and I was like, I don't know, because topaz can be a lot of different colors, and so I was like,
Yeah.
how do
Right.
I make this where it's something that people are going to recognize? But yeah, ultimately I was like, well, that was the one I kept coming back in my head, and I was like, we're going with it. That is what it is.
So
I
it
love
didn't have
that.
to do specifically with a connection to like any of the characters or anything. You were just like, I love these names.
Yes. So I started with my whole like um I don't really think about names. I mean, I know there's a lot of authors, like I think Rebecca Yarros has talked about how she pulls out a baby book and everything is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just let
Mhm.
my fingers kind of hover above the keys for a minute and I'm like, what letter am I feeling? And I hit a letter and then I'm like, okay, now let's play with some combinations here. Like what if so
That's
I
awesome.
so once I started like having I was like, okay, we're gonna do the regions as jewels, and then I was like, okay, well, let's make the main character from that region have some of
Yeah.
those traits, you know. So we have the ruby region. He has red hair. Sapphire
Mm.
region. He has blue
Yep.
eyes. A little
Mm-hmm.
bit of bringing it all together
So
there.
you connected it. So speaking of
Yeah.
coming up with names, you came up with quite a few names for the gods that you created in your book. And I also know from your Instagram that you're a fan of mythology as well. Am I
I
correct?
am. You are.
And
Yes. Yeah.
so what like made you want to bring that mythology portion into it? Did you use any of that knowledge when you were writing the names of the gods or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm a huge Greek mythology girl, always have been. Went through a big phase, as a kid, preteen, where I
Yeah.
was super obsessed with it. I loved like Percy
I
Jackson
was gonna say,
and
were
Oh,
you a Percy
yeah.
right?
Jackson
Yeah,
girl?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I knew that when I was thinking about gods, I kind of wanted to follow a similar structure, a similar idea, but I wanted them to be gods of a little bit unusual kind
Hmm.
of things.
Mm.
And so I did a lot of research on, specifically who was the god or goddess of which thing, and then kind of like played around with maybe what are they the god of, and what are some different variations of that word in different languages, or what are some syllables of that word that I could put with different letters, and
Mm,
kind of
Right.
just mixed it all together in a big hodgepodge. I didn't want to pull too much directly
yeah.
from other cultures because I didn't know that I could do it justice in the way that it needed to be done, and I wanted to be sensitive of that. So I wanted to kind of just make up something that was my own and unique and different.
I was gonna ask, so
Wow.
was there anything that you felt like you got close to from a real Greek mythology story in any of the
Oh,
relationships?
so maybe not in the gods themselves, but definitely in the name of her country, of her land. Corinth it is a city in Greece, and it was big in ancient Greece as this hub.
Mm.
And so I really wanted to play on that, and I don't want to go too much into why I chose it
Yeah.
because I want you to read it. I want.
Yeah.
Um,
Not too many
I want you to find
spoilers.
out. Yeah, not too many
Yeah.
spoilers. I'm a
Yeah.
yapper. I could just blab it. I'm not
Tell
gonna
the
keep that
whole
one in.
story. You couldn't
Us
just tell
too.
us the entire book right now.
Yeah.
I could. I've read it enough times, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, we kind of getting back to Ivy. It's she's such a strong, layered protagonist, as we've talked about. And you mentioned that you really tried to kind of like round out her arc in a really nice way. Was there a scene for you where you really saw her come into her own, and obviously without making that spoilery?
Yeah. Okay, how do I not make this spoilery? Yes, yes, there were. There were a couple of scenes that I wrote that I ended up cutting that I think
Mm,
kind of helped me as the writer figure out where she needed to be in her journey so that I could then frame the things that I knew were really important to the plot, how I could kind of transform her a little bit and mold her to fit that. I would say Ivy is very stubborn. She's very set in this is what I need to do. This is my duty. This is my fate. And
yep.
so I think the kind of the like final showdown is really the moment where Ivy kind of steps into like I don't have to be that. I can make my own choice. I think choice
Right.
is a big theme of the book. And then one particular scene that follows the final showdown. That one, which is a huge spoiler, we're not going to
We know
mention
what
that one.
you're talking
Uh,
about.
that was a moment where it was really like, no, I am who I am, and
Right.
I'm here to stay.
So do you
So
hear that, everybody? You have to read the entire book to get to the
That's
last
right.
scene to
That's
understand what
right.
she's talking about.
That's right.
Okay.
We love that.
Speaking of audience, do you want to get into some audience questions that we got for you?
yeah, let's go.
The audience loves to ask questions about being an author. So first question, do you write in order? Like, did you start at the beginning of the book and write to the end, or did you kind of jump around?
I tried to. I very much tried to write in order, but there were some scenes that just haunted me. They just would not
Mm.
let me rest, and so then I started writing things out of order, and that actually worked out better for me.
Huh.
I put off writing the end for a while, but then the kind of the final showdown scene, I that one was the one that really it would wake me up in the middle of the
Oh
night,
my
and I
gosh.
was like, I
Wow.
have to put this on paper. And so once I did that, then I was able to find the connective tissue to like
Yep.
put things back together. And so as I'm outlining and drafting book 2, I'm not doing it in order. I'm hitting these big moments, and
Mm.
then I'm weaving them all back together.
That
Wow.
makes a ton of sense. I feel like
Yeah.
if you didn't do that, like you said, it would feel more disconnected. Like you need to
Hmm.
know who your
Yeah.
characters are at the end to
Yeah.
know how to write them at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So the audience and we would also love to know a little bit more about your publishing journey and going through the process of self-publishing. Was there anything that was super unexpected that you faced, or were there any big surprises in publishing your debut novel?
Yeah, well, I would say I'm learning stuff every single day. And the
Yep.
writer community on Instagram and TikTok has just been unmatched. They are constantly like throwing up their hand and being like, "Yeah, I'll answer your questions. Like, slide
Oh,
into my
that's
DMs. Let's
awesome.
talk." I mean, I think the indie author community is absolutely incredible, because it is a business, and there are so many aspects that you don't realize. I
Right?
would say the most surprising thing for me, though, was how to get your book on Goodreads, which you would think is like
Huh.
super easy process. And I had to Google a lot. Like, how do I do this? And I like called
Wow.
several friends. I was like, help me figure this out. So
Wait, do they like
Goodreads
try to
is
like gatekeep you from getting on there?
well, but yes, but there's a reasoning for that,
Mm.
and it
Yep.
makes sense. So they have a librarian forum where you like have to post your book information, and then a human librarian reads it and vets it and makes sure that it's real
Really?
and legit, and then they put it on there. And it can take a while because there are just you're humans. You only have so much capacity when especially when you're in a
Right.
volunteer role. And so I think that was like figuring out how to navigate that for me was like the first like, oh wow, I just figured it was like an automatic kind of like, oh, you could just
Right.
go in and do it. But I appreciate the fact that they're doing that so that it's
Yep.
not just littered with, all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Librarians are amazing humans. I will never stop singing praises for
Yes.
librarians. So grateful that they're vetting that.
Wow. Young Cassie would have loved to hear about
Yep.
this job as a librarian.
They should be paid more.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100% and shouldn't be almost getting canceled as a business in
No.
a whole.
Totally.
No.
Okay, so we talked about if you jumped around scenes, but what was the first scene that you wrote for Godsbane? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I wrote a dream sequence first.
Oh, of
Ooh.
course,
And
because of
it
the
has what
dream.
has because of the dream. And it evolved into what is now the prologue. But it
Oh,
was it was initially a dream. Yeah.
the second
Wow.
prologue. The like
This
the
yes.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did
Hmm.
love that.
Hmm.
I
I
did love
love
that.
that prologue.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I did too.
it's so good. I'm like
Uh-huh.
struggling not to say anything.
I
Uh,
know.
So wait, but that's something else I've learned during this process is I have found out that people don't always read prologues, which is
what?
Oh,
shocking to me because I read the copyright page all the way through the
Yeah.
acknowledgments. Like I'm in every page of a book. So
Yes.
but apparently that's a thing.
oh, I did not
Read this
know.
one,
Like I
please.
thought that was like chapter 1. I didn't know that was
Yeah.
like a
Same.
Yeah.
skippable thing.
No.
No.
Oh
No.
my gosh, people are wild. I don't understand that. The prologue has so much meat. I'm like, what do you mean? Like
Yeah.
it's setting the stage for the entire book. Yeah, that's baffling. Well, your
Insane.
prologue is great. So everyone
Thank you.
listening here should read the prologue. Don't skip the prologue, please. Well, also speaking to our romantasy readers,
Mhm.
a question that we typically get is that a lot of romantasy books are kind of starting to feel the same, look and act
Yeah.
and feel the same.
Mhm.
How would you say that yours is different from those that have been coming out in the genre?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say it's not enemies to lovers, which as much as I love
Mm,
as a reader, listen, I will read enemies to lovers all day, every day. Like that's my jam.
same,
I love it, but it's not what
same
I wanted
girl.
to write. And so I would say that it's a little bit different in that aspect. And also, I love books about fae and dragons and vampires, and I read them all day, every
Yeah.
day. But this
Yeah,
isn't that. This is gods, and I think I did a lot of research trying to find books that were in a similar vein. And there are a lot of really cool God concepts out there. But
yeah,
I think this one is a little different. But
yeah,
I hope that it maybe for the romantasy readers maybe scratches a little bit of an itch that they didn't know that they had, and maybe just kind of
Right.
broadens that world a little
yes.
bit.
We were talking about this with The Knight and the Moth because they are also. Did you read
Yeah.
that book yet?
Oh my, yes, that was a 5-star book.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Loved.
So
I
we were
love it.
like,
Love
they're
Rachel Kelly.
not like fae and they're not vampires and things. They're like actual humans. And it makes it feel
Hmm.
almost like more relatable in a way. And that's
Right?
kind
Yeah.
of how
Yeah. I
yours
love that.
feels. You're like, okay, I feel like I can kind of put myself in their shoes because I
Hmm.
don't have
Hmm.
fangs and
Yep,
wings.
yep. Agreed. And
Love
ever
that.
since I saw Hercules, I always just imagined that I was also a god.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah. For
you're
sure.
Demigod.
scratching an old itch there.
Yeah.
I hope all of the former Percy Jackson fans are like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to read about
Yes.
gods.
When I was reading this, I was like, she 100% is a Percy Jackson girl. There's no doubt about it. And she definitely likes Hercules as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, how
How
can
could
you
you
not?
not? Yes.
Okay, so speaking of all these movies and books that we've read in the past, what is your dream casting if HBO was to adapt your book for Ivy and Callan?
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I don't
Have you
know. I
thought
don't know
about
what my
it?
dream casting is. I mean, I did pull some images when I was like when I've been commissioning character art, I have
Yeah,
been like trying to pull some images of folks. Um I just kind of see them as like I don't know, as kind of a hodgepodge of multiple people.
yeah.
that's fair.
I don't know that I've thought about my now that's all I'm gonna think about. So
Well,
that's my follow-up, my
yeah,
takeaway
We're
from
gonna
this.
we're
yeah,
gonna follow up and put it in the show notes when
yeah.
Yeah.
it'll come to you in the
I
shower probably.
I cannot wait to see, hopefully this is my author goal. I wanna see people's fan cast. Like, I wanna see what other people
Yeah.
come up with. They're like, "This is who I pictured."
Yes.
Because I think that'd be so cool. And also,
Yes.
I will tease this with y'all first. I have an incredible piece of character art that I am sitting on right now
When does it come
that I
out?
want
Ooh.
to share, hopefully soon. Hopefully
Ah,
soon.
go on.
Um, it's a training sparring scene.
Ooh,
We
Ooh.
our
have
favorite.
a dagger to a throat. We have a shirtless man.
Okay.
Wow.
Chef's kiss.
Wow.
I think we need this yesterday. That sounds
How
amazing.
has the like art commission process been going for you? This is my own audience question from me.
It's so much fun, and I wish I had like unlimited funds to be able to support all these incredible artists out there, because
Yeah.
there are so many. I think one thing that's really big for me is I want to make sure that I'm supporting like fully human artists,
Mhm.
and so
Right.
like there is a vetting process to like make sure that they're not using AI,
Mm.
and to
Yeah.
try to check and see. And like there's so many different art styles out there, so I kind of have like an idea of
Yeah.
the art styles that I like and what I kind of want to see, and so a lot of those people are booked up because everybody likes that style and they're incredibly talented. But
It's fair.
I've worked with some really incredible artists, and I've got a couple more in the queue that I'm really excited to work with. And yeah,
Wow. Can
it's
you
so
tease
much
your art
fun.
style? What's the art style you like? Can you tease it?
I like it. I like realistic, like
Okay.
kind of. I don't. I am not an artist. I will say that my art
Yeah.
is words. It is not drawing. It is so I don't necessarily know what the exact like
Neither are we.
right word is to
Neither do I.
describe it, but I really like that realism, which can be really
Yep.
difficult in this current market to kind of like find people who aren't using AI for that kind of style. So
Right.
But I have made some incredible connections. So any indie authors out there, if you're listening, if you're looking for a human artist, slide into my DMs. I'm happy
Yep.
to recommend them. I'll always sing their praises.
I
Woo,
love it.
we'll be waiting for that sweaty sparring scene. That
Coming.
sounds very great. Well, I think that's a good segue into our bits of the week. So this is
Bits
typically,
of the
Lindsay, where we're just
week.
kind of shooting the shit a little bit, talking about random stuff. So we'll kick it off with, do you have a favorite book that has been released this year? I think I actually know what your answer is because I'm pretty sure we've talked about it, but I'll let you answer.
That's been released this year. I loved The Night and the Moth. I thought it was
Ah,
incredible. I just started Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab.
Oh,
That's
we're
what I'm
about to start
currently
that.
we're
reading.
about to start that.
So I'm only like a chapter in. I haven't had a ton of time to read, but I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's great. I also was that technically this year? Was that 2024? I can't remember. I love anything written by Krista Broadbent. I love The Songbird and The
Yeah.
Kiss of Dust. Or wait, no, that's in The Songbird and the Heart of Stone.
Yeah.
That one and The Kiss of Dusk is coming out soon. I cannot wait for that one.
Wait, was
Isn't
that?
that? Oh,
Very soon? Yeah.
Wait, I also read that like as immediately when it came out, and I'm like, was that
You
last
did.
year?
It was
It
last
might
year.
have been last fall. Yeah,
I think
I'm
it was
bad with
like last
release dates.
November, I want to say.
And I can't believe she's already
Yeah.
like pumping out the next book.
It's so
She's
impressive.
incredible.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
you ever talked to her before?
No, but Carissa, I'm always down to chat.
Carissa.
And you want to be friends? You want to be friends? Give me a call. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Carissa,
Call all
author
of
to
us.
author. Yeah.
Please. Author to fan, too.
Okay,
I'm
so
like
you
desperately trying to hold on to your cloud over here.
so it sounds like you've made like quite the connection in the indie world, indie author world. So are there any like indie author books you know off the top of your head that like we should look out for?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So I am very excited actually to read Smoke and Scar by Gretchen Powell Fox.
Ooh.
She's helped me with my character description docs and has just been so kind and wonderful. And she commissions the best character art. You want to see some good character art?
Ooh, gotta look
Go
her
check
up.
out Gretchen's page. Her book covers are gorgeous too. So that's definitely on my TBR. I'm excited to read that. And then I have a friend who's releasing a historical romance next month. It is like a
Ooh.
Mean Girls, Bridgerton
I
kind
saw
of
her
vibe.
through
Yeah,
you, and I was like, I
yes,
love this girl.
I
yeah.
love
It's
that.
The Lady of Means by Carly Kay. Definitely excited to check that one out as well.
Yeah, I'm
Ugh.
definitely reading that one too. I think I saw you do
Yeah.
like a post with her in it, and I clicked to
Mhm.
her profile, and I was like, Mean Girls historical romance, sign me up.
Sign us up.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh,
that.
that's amazing. Well, you mentioned that you are very into music, and I feel like I've seen
Mhm.
that in a lot of the like teasers that you posted for the book.
Yes.
So if Godsbane had a playlist or a fan playlist, what
Yeah.
song would definitely be on it? Or like what few
Ooh.
songs would be on it?
So I am a really big music fan, and Godsbane does have multiple playlists actually, and I have a theme song for every character and almost
Ooh,
for every chapter because I know like I need to know like get in the right headspace for those.
yeah.
So Ivy's theme song is "The Archer" by Taylor
Oh yeah,
Swift.
yeah.
Good one.
That's my favorite for her. And then Cal's theme song is "Rain" by Sleep Token.
Oh, you love Sleep
Ooh,
Token.
I do.
that's
I'm
a
a bit.
good one.
I'm really into like emotional music. Like I want
Yeah.
Yeah.
to listen to something and be crying and like be emotionally devastated. Like I'm such a lyrics person. So
Yeah.
I love anything that just like guts me and rips my heart
I
out.
was like, those two
Same.
songs, like already I'm kind of scared of your playlist.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
you should be.
I'm intrigued.
Do you
Send
think
them to me.
do you think you're gonna release the playlist with the book so people can listen along?
Yeah, I definitely want to. I'm not putting it in the book, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna share it on my socials for sure. Yeah.
Oh wow, I love that. I also think if you ever send out PR for your book, I think you need to send out a playlist and maybe on like an old school CD. I don't even know if we have the things to play those anymore, but that'd be fun. And then also your friendship bracelets at your crafting.
Yes. Yeah, I'm wearing my Ivy friendship bracelet right now that
Yeah,
I made.
I
So-
love
Oh, I
that.
love that. Emily's your new PR agent, by the
Yeah,
way.
I'm your PR agent.
Love
There's
it.
yeah. And also I could think of a lot of other things, but I'm not gonna take up all your time.
She'll send it to you on the side.
Just DM
Don't
me.
worry.
Yeah.
I'll DM you. I'll DM you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I think we could probably keep you here for another hour, but we won't
Yeah.
force you into that. So thank you so much for chatting with us and talking us through Godsbane. And if there's any final details that you'd like to share about the book or the launch or about yourself that you want your future readers to know, feel free to shout it out here.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be available for pre-order soon on my website, which is lindseyrichardsonauthor.com. It's also on all of my socials, and it will hopefully be in all of the places that you can buy books. And I'm really excited about
Yeah.
that. And I'll also be, I will count this as an announcement. I will have my first author signing event at the Fantasy Forge Smoky Mountain Book Con in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee on November 8th.
Wow!
That's so exciting.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be awesome.
Do I need to go to Pigeon Forge? I'm in driving distance.
I feel like you
I
do.
mean, yes, you do.
As your PR
Yeah.
agent.
As your official
Done.
PR agent.
Wow,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
so awesome. You are really doing this thing, Lindsey, and we are so proud of you and so excited for you. And you just have like such a bright future we see coming. And we're so excited to watch along the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you for sharing with us, sharing your light, sharing your art, sharing all the things with us. We so appreciate it.
Thank you for randomly sliding into my DMs one day
Yeah.
and talking about your book boyfriend bracket, and I was like, sold for day one. Let's go.
That's
BFFs.
right. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. And again, for all the readers out there listening to this, look out for Godsbane, especially on Goodreads, because Lindsey fought hard for that. Okay. Go give her all the 5-star reviews. We'll see you same time, same place. Bring your blankets, bring your book boyfriends, and we'll see you then.
See ya.